How long does it take from starting something and being grossly incompetent and knowing it to being reasonably good in, hopefully, as short a period of time as possible? What my research says, 20 hours. That's it.
여러분들은 1만 시간의 법칙을 알고 계시거나 들어보셨나요? 1만 시간의 법칙이란 어떤 분야의 전문가가 되기 위해서는 최소한 1만 시간의 훈련이 필요하다는 법칙입니다. 1만 시간은 매일 3시간씩 10년간 꾸준한 시간입니다. 조시 카프만은 여기서 의문을 제기합니다. 1만 시간이 아닌 20시간으로도 우리 일반인이 전문가가 될 수 있다고 얘기합니다. 그럼 조시 카프만이 주장하는 20시간의 법칙은 어떠한 것일까요?
1,000 hours. Anybody ever heard this? 10,000. It takes 10,000 hours. If you want to learn something new, if you want to be good at it, it's going to take 10,000 hours to get there. And I read this in book after book and website after website, and my mental experience of reading all of this stuff was like, no! I don't have time. I don't have 10,000 hours. I am never going to be able to learn anything new ever again. But that's not true. So 10,000 hours, just to give you a rough order of magnitude, 10,000 hours is a full-time job for 5 years. That's a long time. And we've all had the experience of learning something new, and it didn't take us anywhere close to that amount of time, right? So what's up? There's something kind of funky going on here. What the research says and what we expect and have experiences, they don't match up. And what I found, here's the wrinkle. The 10,000 hour rule came out of studies of expert level performance. There was a professor at Florida State University. His name is K. Anders Ericsson. He's the originator of the 10,000 hour rule. And where that came from is he studied professional athletes, world-class musicians, chess grandmasters, all of these ultra-competitive folks in ultra-high-performing fields, and he tried to figure out how long does it take to get to the top of those kinds of fields. And what he found is the more deliberate practice, the more time that those individuals spent practicing the elements of whatever it is that they do, the more time you spend, the better you get. And the folks at the tippy top of their fields put in around 10,000 hours of practice.
1만 시간의 법칙은 전문가 수준에 있는 사람들이 정상을 찍기 위해 얼마나 걸릴지 연구한 결과라고 합니다. 그렇다면 일반적인 우리가 어떤 것을 잘하기 위해서는 몇 시간을 해야 할까요?
How long does it take from starting something and being grossly incompetent and knowing it to being reasonably good in, hopefully, as short a period of time as possible? So, how long does that take? Here's what my research says. 20 hours. That's it.
그렇다면 20시간의 법칙을 어떠한 식으로 해야지 효과적일까요? 조시 카프만은 20시간의 법칙을 달성하기 위해서 효율적인 4가지의 규칙을 소개합니다.
The first is to deconstruct the skill. Decide exactly what you want to be able to do when you're done, and then look into the skill and break it down into smaller and smaller pieces. Most of the things that we think of as skills are actually big bundles of skills that require all sorts of different things. The more you can break apart the skill, the more you're able to decide what are the parts of this skill that will actually help me get to what I want, and then you can practice those first. And if you practice the most important things first, you'll be able to improve your performance in the least amount of time possible. The second is learn enough to self-correct. So get 3 to 5 resources about what it is you're trying to learn. Could be books, could be DVDs, could be courses, could be anything. But don't use those as a way to procrastinate on practice. I know I do this, right? Get like 20 books about the topic. It's like, I'm gonna start learning how to program a computer when I complete these 20 books. No, that's procrastination. What you want to do is learn just enough that you can actually practice and self-correct or self-edit as you practice. So the learning becomes a way of getting better at noticing when you're making a mistake and then doing something a little different. The third is to remove barriers to practice. Distractions, television, internet, all of these things that get in the way of you actually sitting down and doing the work. And the more you're able to use just a little bit of willpower to remove the distractions that are keeping you from practicing, the more likely you are to actually sit down and practice, right? And the fourth is to practice for at least 20 hours. Now, most skills have what I call a frustration barrier. You know, the grossly incompetent knowing it part. That's really, really frustrating. We don't like to feel stupid. And feeling stupid is a barrier to us actually sitting down and doing the work. So by pre-committing to practicing whatever it is that you want to do for at least 20 hours, you will be able to overcome that initial frustration barrier and stick with the practice long enough to actually reap the rewards. All right? That's it. It's not rocket science.
조시 카프만은 다음과 같은 방식으로 20시간만으로도 충분히 잘할 수 있다고 얘기합니다. 지금까지의 내용을 총 정리해 드리자면, 첫째, 우리가 배우고자 하는 기술을 세분화하여 핵심부터 배워라. 핵심부터 배우면 우리가 그 기술을 습득하는데 훨씬 짧은 시간이 걸리게 됩니다. 두 번째, 스스로 고치는 법을 배우세요. 책, DVD, 강좌 등으로 여러분이 배우고 싶은 분야를 배운 다음에 곧바로 실행에 옮기세요. 배운다는 핑계로 이것을 미루면 안 됩니다. 우리가 이렇게 배운 내용을 토대로 스스로 고칠 수 있게 된다면 우리는 더 발전할 수 있게 됩니다. 세 번째, 우리가 연습하는데 방해가 되는 것들을 모두 제거하세요. TV, 방해물, SNS 등을 잠시 없애세요. 우리가 온전히 연습에 집중할 수 있는 시간을 충분히 확보하는 것입니다. 마지막은 최소한 20시간은 연습하세요. 우리는 무엇을 처음 시작할 때 좌절감을 많이 느낍니다. 그 분야에 대해서 잘 모르기 때문에 처음에는 많은 어려움이 느끼고 좌절감을 느낍니다. 중간에 포기하고 싶을 수도 있을 것입니다. 하지만 무엇이든 처음이 제일 어렵습니다. 우리가 좌절감이 생기는 것을 미리 인정하고 어떠한 일이 있어도 최소한 20시간을 연습한다고 약속합시다. 앞으로 우리는 1만 시간의 법칙이 아닌 20시간의 법칙을 활용해 여러 가지를 배울 수 있게 되었습니다. 1만이라는 시간을 20시간의 법칙을 통해 500여 가지의 다양한 것을 배울 수 있게 되었습니다. 정말 엄청나지 않나요? 여러분들이 제일 배우고 싶은 것은 무엇인가요? 오늘도 영상 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 지금까지 똑같이였습니다.